Billings of Jack Billings Presents, me and my neighbor Michael.
It's a comedy podcast about neighborhood goings-on.
Yeah, nailed it, bud.
What do we do on this podcast?
I don't know if you guys have perverts in your neighborhood.
We sure did. We no longer talk about your broken penis.
Did we talk about my penis?
Yeah, we talked about it way too much.
Huh.
The Oracl Network.
The Oracl Network.
Look deeper.
This is Dos Spookqueños,
a funnier look at the paranormal in New Mexico.
with your co-ghosts, Eric Carter Landine.
and Alex.
What's up, Alex?
Hey, Eric, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So I'm fucking excited about today. I'm excited about this episode. I'm glad to be recording with you.
I am too, man. And this is going to be a good one.
I think so. So for our listeners, so you guys understand what's going on, we both wrote separately from each other. We're doing two different things on this episode, and Alex has not seen what I've written yet, and I didn't really read what you wrote yet either. So I'm excited to hear your take on this, because I did cover the part that you're going to do on True Consequences. So I'm excited to see what you came up with, and then I have something that is, I think, a little bit less known, but also super fucking creepy to talk about. So I hope I hope it comes off like the way that I feel like it's going to come off. But we should talk about a couple things first. We should talk about merchandise and the fact that we have a couple of designs up on TeePublic. If you just search for Dos Spookqueños when you go to teepublic.com, you'll find shirts and hats and mugs and stickers and tapestries and all kinds of cool stuff there. We get part of the proceeds from that, and that helps to support the show and cover some of our costs that we're investing here. And then we also have Patreon, which I'll let you talk about, Alex.
Yeah, we have a Patreon that, you can, we have different levels of support that you can do, and it's a monthly thing. And when you're a Patreon with us, you get all types of goodies and back scene stuff and early access and everything else.
Yeah, and I just received a shipment of stickers in the mail, and I also ordered some, they're like acrylic pins. Those should be coming soon as well.
Yeah.
And so I'll be sending those to our patrons in the mail, along with a note that is written by one of us and signed by both of us. Yeah, we appreciate all of our supporters, and not all support is financial. Financial support definitely helps us, but any other support is also meaningful to us, and we appreciate that. So that includes rating our show on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcatcher, or leaving a review on your podcatcher or Facebook or whatever, and your recommendation to your friends. That goes a long way for us, because we're really proud of what we're producing here. We hope that you enjoy it, and if you do enjoy it, don't keep us a secret. We want more people to listen and to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for announcements, other than this is the second to the last episode of season 1, which is bittersweet.
I can't believe it, man. That was kind of fast. It was and it wasn't, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It felt like it went really fast, but in 2020 time, it was like 37 years. So it depends on how you look at it, I guess.
It's just been one long day.
Yeah. But I think the point is that we have been having a lot of fun doing this and producing this show, and that's made it not really seem like work, but more like two friends hanging out and having a conversation, which is cool.
Yeah. And I can't wait till I don't know, when all this COVID shit's over and we can kind of get out and do some other Dos Pequeños stuff. Like, at the very beginning of the season, we talked about going down to Roswell, and investigating some stuff down there. Or there's all these places we want to go and check out, and we want to take you guys with us. So I'm looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so I know that you have something for me to talk about, and I am super excited to hear it. So let's just jump into the episode.
Let's.
Lettuce
and onion.
Special sauce.
Did you fucking say special sauce?
I did say special sauce.
Just gonna throw that out there like that.
Just gonna
Special
leave
sauce.
that hanging out there in the middle of the air. Yes.
You're just gonna take it. You're gonna take it, and you're gonna put it there in the people's heads, and they're gonna be like, special sauce.
What is he talking about?
Why? Where did they go? What happened?
You'll never know.
I have a really good story for you tonight, man, and I know you know it. Most of our listeners know it, but let's see if I can give you some information about it that may kind of, I don't know, make you think a little differently, or give you some information that'll maybe show you who we're going to talk about tonight in a different light.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. All right, so let's see, man, if you can guess who I'm going to be talking about tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a couple of clues.
Okay.
You've heard of the boogeyman.
Yep.
Well, let's just call this one a boogie woman.
Okay.
And 2, infanticide.
Okay. I know who you're talking about.
Okay, do you know what infanticide even means, man?
Yeah, it's killing an infant.
Okay, there you go. I want to make sure, you know.
I talk, dude.
Buddy.
La Llorona, of course.
That's right, man. That's correct, E-Rock.
And also, just so you know, in New Mexico, the boogeyman is El Cucuy.
El Cucuy.
Or also known as the Coco Man.
The Coco Man?
Mm-hmm.
I see a future episode.
Let's do it. Let's do the boogeyman. Dude, that'd be fucking rad.
I've never heard of this one before.
Yes, let's do it. That'd be fucking awesome. I'm in.
Well, anyway, that's not...
We're not talking about him, though.
I know. That's correct, E-Rock.
What? Did you just fucking call me?
I called you E-Rock?
Oh. All right. I think I like that.
I mean, or Eric. I mean, I'll call you Eric if you need. I just was like, hey, E-Rock?
You've just never called me that before, so it kind of shook me.
Tonight we will be discussing La Llorona, okay? The weeping woman. La Malinche. Or just the legendary woman that goes around and drowns children, or just straight up takes the little bastards.
As people do.
As people do. First, let's talk about history and origins.
Okay.
So this legend is quite well known throughout all of Latin America, but seems to have kind of gotten its start in the Aztec world.
Mm-hmm.
So La Llorona is sometimes known as La Malinche, or as she is known as Nawa. How do you say that one? Woman that served as Hernan Cortez's interpreter. So some stories say that she had been betrayed by the Spanish conquistadors, and in another story, she is abandoned by Cortez so that he could be with a Spanish lady, maybe of like higher stature. Either way, this led to her getting pretty pissed, and she decides on the ultimate act of pure anger and vengeance. Okay, but this tale, this is what it's seen as.
Okay.
The discovery of the New World and the subsequent demise of the indigenous peoples and cultures.
Oh, shit. Okay, so it's like a metaphor for the pillaging and raping of native tribes.
For someone of higher stature.
Oh.
Okay, so
Holy
get
shit.
this.
I never
right?
thought of it that way.
Well, yeah. So I'm glad I could bring something to you, buddy. Okay, so get this. In Tenochtitlan, there were these apparent ugly omens that were supposed to occur.
Okay.
Now, I'm not too sure about all of them, but I know that the 6th one is of a woman that roams the night screaming, "Where will I take you, oh my children?"
Whoa. Okay. So I'm going to tell you this because you may not know that Tenochtitlan is an ancient city that Mexico City was built right on top of. So
right.
Mexico City right now exists where Tenochtitlan was back in Aztec days.
Right.
Just FYI.
So, are the stories of the Weeping Lady Ghost just in Latin South America? Nopers. There are stories similar to what we think of as La Llorona from all over the globe. From Iberian folklore, Aztec, Lilith, and even found in Hebrew myths and folklore as well. Here's the thing. Even author and friend of the show, Ben Radford, investigated these stories in his book, Mysterious New Mexico. Shout out. And he found that that some of the La Llorona story elements can be traced all the way back to 1486 in an old Germanic folktale.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about like what La Llorona is in different places that are close to us here in the Southwest.
Can we talk about what she isn't?
Or what she isn't.
She isn't a waitress.
No, not anymore. She used to be. She used to work at Denny's, but she worked at Denny's, but times got tough, and they had to let her go.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Now she wails for different reasons. 1, because she worked at Denny's, and 2, because she lost her job at Denny's.
And 3, because her student loan debt is so fucking high.
Dude,
God damn it.
welcome to the real world.
Welcome to America, bitch.
Yeah. You want to get somewhere? Welcome to life-crippling debt. Yeah. So in Mexico, I guess there are actually ways to get in contact with the weeping/wailing woman.
Really?
So, yeah, we should try it. No.
Is it like Bloody,
No.
is it like Bloody Mary, where you like stand in the mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times? Is it like that?
Very similar. Okay, so this is
Really?
what happens. So one apparent way to have her come and talk to you is just to have bad kids.
You know what? That is like exactly what every parent in New Mexico and probably Mexico and Latin America tell their kids.
Yeah.
Is if you misbehave, La Llorona's gonna come, she's gonna take you away, and she's gonna fucking drown you because you're an asshole.
Yeah, so if the little buckaroos are acting up, she'll just come and snatch them right on up, okay?
Non-Latino parents, non-Latina parents will say, if you misbehave, Santa Claus isn't gonna bring you presents.
Yeah.
But Latino and Latina parents will say, a ghost is gonna kidnap you and drown you. So that will just give you some context into the difference in culture in New Mexico.
Think about how it is in Germany in some places where, what's his name? Oh God.
Krampus?
Yeah, Krampus comes and just takes your ass and like whips you and stuff. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a lot of different kind of cultures that have something like this. You act up, this is going to get you. But another way to communicate with her is to light red candles. I guess they have to be red. Cover all the mirrors. You have to cover them. So it's kind of like the opposite of
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. So
she's the anti-Bloody Mary.
And listeners, please, if you do this, do it and then tag us in it. I want to, and then post.
Record it. Record the whole thing.
Please record it and tag it. I want to see it. Okay, so you light your red candles. Okay, how many? I don't know. Let's say 3. Let's say 3 candles. 3 is the magic number, right?
3 to 9.
Yeah, 3 to 9. 3 to 74. Anything over that's too fucking much. Okay, it's a hazard. You might burn something down.
It'll get really hot in your house. Your electric bill will go up because your AC is working too hard.
This is summer right now. We don't need to make our house any hotter than it already is. Maybe 3. How about let's start with 3.
All right.
Cover all the mirrors. Now I don't know if it's just like cover the mirrors in the room or do you have to go all over the fucking house and do it? But cover the mirrors, okay, and say her name over and over again.
How many times?
I don't know. Just over and over until something happens, until like you go to sleep. Okay. I guess she will just pop up and say, "What's up?" Hey. Hey, how you doing? You kids acting up? I'm here to take your kids. and of course, in another way to get in touch with her is just to be around water at night.
Which is another part of what your parents tell you here in New Mexico. Is if you go playing by the ditch or if you go by the river, La Llorona is going to get you.
Shut up. Don't take my thunder.
Oh, sorry.
Now, when I say water, of course, I mean like a river, a lake, or a ditch, and I'll talk about that a little bit. Okay, so here, I'm just fucking with you. When I say water, of course, I mean like a river, lake, or ditch. Okay, but in the U.S., specifically here in New Mexico, these tales of La Llorona are embedded deep in Hispanic culture and in people's tales. So La Llorona here is portrayed in a kind of like a sad way. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, she was betrayed by her lover, and then she drowned her children because of that. And so now she's doomed forever to walk the earth looking for her children. And a lot of people also say that seeing her is a really bad sign, like an omen of bad things to come. So the woman is often seen like wearing all white and sometimes apparently all black, I guess, just to kind of switch it up. I don't know, keep them on their toes. She's often found, like I said, around water, but sometimes she can apparently be found at crossroads as well.
Interesting.
And you'll know it's her, of course, by hearing her cries and screams. And she cries for her lost children, the children that she killed herself in a fit of rage for, her unfaithful lover who leaves her for another woman of higher stature.
It's important to know that she cries for them in Spanish. She says, "Ay, mis hijos."
Is that really? Is that what
Mhm.
in your research?
Mm-hmm.
Is this what you found?
I'd also like to make a shameless plug for the TeePublic True Consequences shop, where there is a Don't Cry For Me La Llorona t-shirt available for sale now, as well as other merchandise related to La Llorona.
Dude, do you really have that for True Consequences?
Yeah, dude.
Don't cry for me, La Llorona.
Yeah.
Why didn't I know that? That's fucking hilarious.
It's amazing. It's a great shirt, and it's also great for like a mug or whatever else you want.
Okay, so the children that she killed herself in a fit of rage for her unfaithful lover, who leaves her for another woman of a higher stature. Usually in the American stories, when she realizes what she has done, she commits suicide, not able to handle the acts that she's committed. Okay, so here's a couple of quick accounts I have, okay? This person had stopped in on a creek in Hora, New Mexico, and had spotted a tall, thin woman that seemed to float over the water. She had floated right up the hill, and then soon later she was spotted again, but this time she was even closer. The witnesses said that they went to see if there were any footprints in the sand near the creek, but none were found. Another story says that a bunch of brothers had left a ranch in Ojo de la Vaca to go to Villa Real de Santa Fe. And on their way, they saw a woman who seemed very tall, wearing all black and a black veil to cover her face. Okay, very emo. But this time, the woman was not spotted on the river. This time, the ghoul girl was spotted sitting right between the two eyewitnesses in the car.
Ooh.
So all of a sudden, boom, ghoul right next to you. She was said to have told the passengers, "I will visit you again someday when you argue with your mother.
And I'm going to be dancing to goth music."
Hey, kids, stop arguing with your parents. I mean, stop it. And also,
you have to watch me dance to The Cure.
and also, you probably shouldn't be listening to us. So, like, go to bed or something.
Yeah, right now.
Okay? So, Iraq. Okay, Iraq, here's a creepy one that I had to add in. So in 1986, a woman by the name Juana Liha tried to kill all 7 of her kiddos by throwing them into the Buffalo Bayou in Houston, Texas.
Holy shit.
So we've heard about this kind of stuff happening all the time in the news, but apparently she was the victim of domestic abuse, and she told the police investigators that she wanted to end the suffering of her children and herself. But during one of the interviews, she actually declared herself as La Llorona. Okay, and 2 of the 7 children actually had perished in the waters, unfortunately.
I hate that story.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. And also, like, she's not La Llorona. She's just fucking psycho. Yeah.
Yeah, she was just... Okay, so, more stories. A bizarre coincidence of La Llorona, okay? This is a nice story. So, when I was in 7th grade, I had a frightening dream. I saw myself standing on a dark road with the only illumination coming from the dim street light. The ground was wet, and in the distance, I could hear the sound of rain falling and the tap, tap, tapping of footsteps coming towards me. Peering into the darkness, I could make out a woman, dressed all in black with dark lacy veil covering her face, moving towards me. Strangely, as the mysterious woman grew closer, so did the rain. When the woman was about 15 feet in front of me, she looked over my shoulder. When I turned to see what she was looking at, I saw a young child dressed in a white nightgown playing with a doll in the middle of a puddle of water. When I turned back to her, she was right in front of me. The veil was lifted, her eyes were abnormally wide, and her face was no more than 3 inches away from mine. Her terrifying eyes stared into mine dead on until I woke in a panic. I looked towards the window. It was raining. As you can imagine, I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. Okay, but it's not over. The next day, I shook off the dream and thought nothing more about it until a year later. On that night, I was spending the night with my friend Veronica, who had also invited another friend named Sarah. In the course
Veronica. There's always one.
Fucking Veronica.
You bitch. Why'd you have to bring Sarah?
In the course of the evening, Sarah, who happens to be Hispanic, began to tell us some of the legends and the ghost stories of the Mexican culture. And when she began to tell the tale of La Llorona, I didn't think anything of it at first. And then she began to tell how the legendary spirit travels by water, dressed all in black or white, and is most always seen wearing a veil. Sarah continued by telling us that La Llorona lifts her veil only to tell her victims that in their afterlife she has chosen to help her find the bones of her lost children. Now, I constantly wonder if, in my afterlife, I will be forced to help her find the bones of her lost children. And that was submitted by Tanya Aplar. So I have another one for you, Eric.
Okay.
This is called Mila's Story of La Llorona. And this comes from South Valley, Albuquerque, New Mexico. At the age of 7, I was attending the new Parejito school in the South Valley of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I loved attending the Parejito school, especially when it was time to play outside in the schoolyard. Surrounding this playground was a high fence to keep the children from wandering off, and behind the fence was an irrigation ditch that fed an alfalfa field on the other side of the trench. In the high, arid land surrounding Albuquerque, it seemed as if there were ditches everywhere, really, watering the fields beyond the city. Soon, we had met a little boy who was not yet old enough to attend school, and he would often come and play by the fence and watch us as the older children frolicked in the schoolyard. But one day, our play was interrupted by a big commotion near the schoolyard fence, and as we ran towards the fence, we soon discovered that the little boy had fallen into the irrigation ditch. Though one of our teachers pulled the boy from the muddy water and began resuscitation efforts, it was too late. That was the first time I'd ever experienced the loss of a friend. The next day at school, one of the children told me that La Llorona had gotten the boy, and I could only stand there speechless, having never heard of La Llorona. They explained that she was the ditch lady, and that they wandered up and down the ditches looking for little kids to steal because her own children had drowned in a terrible accident. That frightened me because right outside my own back door were 2 of the muddy trenches. On cloudy days, we could imagine her ascending from the heavens to take her place among the ditches. And that was submitted by the Reverend Elizabeth Kirkwood.
Whoa, it's sad. That's a horrible story. It's sad, but like, I'm shaken by that idea that maybe like the kids saw something,
right,
that nobody else saw. Ah!
I mean, so how do you feel about this so far? I mean, I know you've done your show and you've done research on La Llorona, but what do you think? Well, what about the information I brought to the table to you today?
Well, I did learn some things, so I'm grateful for that, because I didn't really understand how far back this went. But yeah, like, you know, this is like one of those things that you just grow up with in the back of your mind when you're a kid here. You hear this all the time and you get threatened with it all the time. And so, you know, some of these stories are spooky and creepy, but it's always interesting to see how these things come about and where they start and how they spread, like these legends. Like I can't say that I actually believe in La Llorona, or that I ever did in the first place, except for maybe when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, maybe I believed that was possible. I think it's always been an interesting story. It's always been a fascinating story. It's always been something that is like part of my culture and part of what I grew up with. And so that's always been really cool. And to identify with it from that perspective is cool, but I don't know that's a real thing.
Well, good. Well, La Llorona seems to be actually fairly, I don't know, as time goes, recent, a recent urban myth.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there are parts of the story that go back many years and to many places, what we think of her today is at least pretty new. And I think personally that is a cautionary tale told to children, and mainly to keep them from being harmed and drowning. And also we can view it as a way for parents to kind of keep a handle on misbehaviors.
Stop their kids from being assholes.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you have any personal stories you want to share? Do you know about it? What were you told as a kid?
Yeah, well, I was always told that La Llorona is going to get you if you misbehave. That was definitely one of the things that was shared with me. Sometimes if you would hear coyotes at night, your family would tell you that was La Llorona, and she was looking like, you better go to bed and you better behave and you better be quiet.
There you go. Yeah, you better go to bed.
Because she's gonna get you. And then again, there was that cautionary tale about ditches and rivers and staying away from bodies of water, which, whether it's traumatic or not, I think is for somebody who's in that mental health field to be able to determine. But it worked. It kept me away from the ditches and the rivers. I was definitely afraid of them when I was younger because I didn't want to get drowned by La Llorona. Like, that would be awful. So I don't have any experiences with her or with, personally from seeing her or anything. And then, it's almost like for me, like the Santa Claus myth. You're taught this when you're a kid. You believe it when you're a kid.
Myth.
You believe it when you're a kid, and then you kind of grow out of it. And I feel like La Llorona is very similar to that. Now, there may be some listeners right now that have seen her that are like really mad at me for saying that, but I haven't had a personal experience with her. And looking into it, even from what I did before, it really just, to me, seems like this fantastic tale that is spooky. And I love it. And it's cool, but I don't think it's real.
Well, and hey, if listeners, if that really did piss you off, if Eric just made you angry, because I didn't do it, and you did, if you have an experience with La Llorona, hit us up, let us know. I want hit us up in the messages, let us know. I love hearing your stories. Okay, maybe we can do a little extra.
Heck yeah.
Well, I know you have something to share with me, Eric, so I am all ears.
Yeah, man. And it's pretty interesting how this will tie into what you had, even though it's something completely different. So I have a creepy ass legend for you today, Alex.
Okay.
And I hope you're ready for this because it is spooky and it's specific to New Mexico and Mexico.
Well, that's my
that's our
story,
jam, right?
then. That's my jam.
All right. I want you to imagine that you are driving alone on a dark, desolate highway in New Mexico at night.
It happens.
Are you there?
Happens. Yeah, I can totally picture that. I've done that plenty of times.
We've all been there. You're in the middle of nowhere and it is dark. Proper dark.
Like seeing nothing dark.
Right. Like you are far away from the lights of the city and you can really only see what your headlights illuminate. Everything else is black, with the exception of the stars and the moon. You see a dark shape floating at a crossroads. It looks like a blob, and its shape is indefinable.
It's me.
It keeps shifting and changing, and you get an uneasy feeling in your stomach. The hairs on your arms and the back of your neck begin to prickle. You don't like this at all. It feels sinister, ominous even. You find yourself transfixed by this floating object. You lose track of time. Like a siren, it lures you in. You're paralyzed. It moves closer. You open the car door and step out onto the road, unwittingly. You are drawn toward this dark entity. You feel like you're being pulled towards it, almost like an unknown magnetism is pulling you slowly. You cannot stop yourself. You're under its spell. It has you. It's controlling you. You get the sensation that you are floating towards it. You are terrified and you want to scream or shout or run, but you can't. There's nothing you can do. It owns you. It envelops you. You are slowly suffocated, and before you know it, you're dead. Your body is found on the side of the road the next day. You didn't stand a chance. So what do you think about that, Alex?
Jesus, man. That really, you really painted a picture.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Creepy as fuck, right?
Yeah, it's super creepy. What are you talking about?
Well, there's more.
Okay.
All right. So let's do this exercise again. Imagine once more you're driving on a desolate stretch of road in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico. Maybe you have longer hair now. Maybe you're wearing a different shirt. I don't know. Just fucking go with me on this journey.
We know you're listening to different music, so I mean, picture
Obviously. That. Okay, so you're driving along. You come to a crossroad, and you see a figure resembling a woman, all in black. She rushes up to your car and begins banging furiously on your driver's side window. You panic, you hit the gas, but not before catching a glimpse of her dark red eyes. Feel the fear and panic overwhelm you as you drive away. And after talking to some friends, you learn that this being is also known as La Mala Hora. And this version of it is known to be a harbinger of death. Anyone who sees her is faced with the loss of someone they love very close to them. So both of these...
I thought you were describing Central for a minute.
You're at the Pussycat Theater.
Someone's banging on your window.
They're asking you for money. Don't give it to them. Don't give it to them.
Super red eyes. I'm like, fuck, that reminds me when I was Ubering.
So La Mala Hora, both of these experiences that I described to you are what is known as La Mala Hora. There's a couple of different versions of it. So both of them are fucking scary as shit, though.
Okay, so let me get it straight. The first version is like a blob, and the second version is kind of sounds like La Llorona.
Exactly. And it sounds like the version that you told where she's an omen of death.
And on the crossroads. Interesting.
Very similar. So there's a creepypasta story going around on the internet about a woman who went to comfort a friend who was going through a divorce late at night. Her husband was in Chicago on business, and as she's driving, she had a long drive. She lived in Santa Fe, and she had to drive 4 hours. So I'm guessing it was like TRC or something, maybe Las Cruces that she was going to. Like I said, her husband was traveling, and as she was driving the 4 hours to see her friend, she saw this demonic woman in the road. And when she took off, she was like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. Went to her friend's house. She told her friend about it. Her friend was like, oh my God, that's La Mala Hora. And that means that somebody you love is going to die. Right? Well, she goes back home and the police are waiting for her to let her know that her husband was killed in a robbery in Chicago that night.
Dang.
It's creepypasta, you know? Could be true, could be not true. But it's still spooky as fuck. So
can you tell what our non-Spanish listeners what that means?
La Mala Hora?
Yeah.
It means the evil hour, the bad hour. So this is one of the craziest urban legends in New Mexico and Mexico. And to be honest, I really hadn't heard about it until listener Paul brought it to my attention. And holy shit, am I glad that he did, because it totally spooked me out when I was researching it. This thing is the stuff of nightmares, and I'm not sure I'll be taking any late night drives through New Mexico anytime soon. There isn't much about this particular legend in terms of history specific to New Mexico, and I also didn't find any firsthand accounts of this happening. Only like creepypasta stories that are floating around. But I did look into other similar experiences, and so I'm going to go through those now and just kind of paint a picture of what I think is happening here. And then you can kind of let me know what you think.
So, yeah. I mean, I've never heard of it before, but I've heard of like something similar like that. Yeah, you're right. Like the evil hour. You know, it's like the witching hour kind of thing, right? You know, yeah. So no, let's get into it.
Okay. So let's talk about crossroad demons.
Please. We need to know more about them so we can be more aware and be safe out there.
Yeah. Be safe, everybody. Avoid crossroads.
Please avoid crossroads, especially San Mateo and Montgomery.
And 5 Points. Okay, so the idea of a crossroads demon has been around for centuries. There's even an 11th century writing from Norse mythology that goes as follows.
Ooh.
There was also a man called Mercury. He was very crafty and deceitful in deed and trickeries, though his speech was fully plausible. The heathens made him a renowned god for themselves. At crossroads, they offered sacrifices to him frequently, and they often erringly brought praise offerings to hilltops, all through the devil's teaching. This false god was honored among the heathens in that day, and he is called by the name of Odin in the Danish manner. So that is a 11th century writing.
That was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, that was like Tuesday.
Okay.
In 2020 time. So in hoodoo or voodoo, depending on who you talk to, people believe that you can summon a dark being at a crossroads who will make a deal with you and give you what you most desire. And there are similar stories in Brazil, and there's even some in Greek mythology. Now,
I believe I've even heard like blues songs about Crossroads.
Yep.
And
Yep.
a few
And that's
artists doing
from the
that.
20th century. Yeah.
Yeah.
While La Mala Hora is not really similar to these in the sense that there's no indication that this entity will make a deal with you or that she or it is seen as a demon, but she does come upon, or it does come upon people at crossroads, which is basically the only similarity there. The idea of dark entities haunting and or lurking near crossroads isn't new, though the lore around these beings changes based on where you heard the legend. And the general idea is that all of these beings are not to be fucked around with. They are all intense entities, and some of them are just downright evil. So let's talk about harbingers of death now.
Harbingers of death.
Dun, dun, dun. So there are accounts of La Mala Hora being a sign or a symbol that death is near, and this type of symbology is seen in other cultures with other beings. There are so many superstitions about death. For example, it's said that during a funeral, all mirrors must be facing the wall. Otherwise, anyone who looks at themselves will be dead within a year.
Oh, shit. Cover your mirrors? Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Eh?
Yep. There are numerous beliefs that if you have a funeral and don't fill in the grave by Sunday, someone will die within a week or 4 weeks, depending on who you ask.
Or it just smells terrible.
Right.
Hurry up and fill that grave, man.
In China and Central America, it's believed that if you see a black butterfly, someone you know is about to die. In Germany...
Shit, I've seen a bunch of black butterflies.
Well, good thing you're not in China or Central
That's
America.
terrible news. So does everyone kill like all the black butterflies off now? Are they going extinct? Do we need to worry about the black butterflies?
In Germany, if you see your doppelganger, that means you are about to die.
Oh, fuck. Well, that's the good news. Everyone says like, oh, you remind me of someone, or, you know, you look like someone I know. And I'm like, I don't feel like I look like anybody. You know what I mean? I really don't.
Like Sasquatch.
Sam Squanchy. Yeah, Sam Squanchy's. Fuck.
Many cultures believe that hearing 3 knocks on your door
Fuck, I heard that.
Could be a sign that death is near. Many cultures have their own version of demons or bringers of death, which may be seen as more similar to La Mala Hora as omens go. The Gaelic have the Banshee, the Greeks, Thanatos, and in Brazil, they have, I think it's Exu, it might be Ishu, who is considered the Lord of the Crossroads and the ruler of midnight and cemeteries, which is very similar to the idea of La Mala Hora.
Is he moody?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
You know he's that bitch is moody.
For sure.
I'm just watching the cemetery. I don't know, man.
So I just have one story because this is all I could find, and it's a traditional story that was told in Mocho, which was a dying Mayan language. And this story
You're actually going to read it in a dead language?
100%.
Fantastic.
And you guys can just fucking figure it out yourselves.
And good luck translating it. Hope you got a Rosetta Stone.
This story was actually told in Chiapas, Mexico in 1967. And it is told by the storyteller who is referring to the monstrous La Mala Hora, the evil woman. A man from Motozintla, it's really hard to say, had a girlfriend in Amantanago. And
I'm so glad you were reading this and I'm not.
I know. One night, as he was on his way to visit her, he ran into a woman on the road. She looked like his girlfriend. Since you were coming to see me, I came to meet you, she said. I brought all my things. Let's run away together. Are you serious? The man asked. He couldn't believe his luck, but then he looked at the woman more closely, and he saw that her toes were on backwards.
What? How would you even have your toes on backwards?
Just figure it out.
I can't even visualize that in my head.
It's like nails toward feet, maybe? Or
no, but I mean, were they
or is it toes
backwards? Or were they do they grow into your feet instead? Are they under the foot?
Are they on your heel?
I mean, yeah. Are they facing out of the heel?
Yeah. I don't know.
Sorry.
This is, again, translated from a dying Mayan language, so...
Well, there's your problem.
We don't know how this is working out here. You're not my girlfriend, he said. Of course I am, she said. Now let's go before my father finds us. The man insisted that she was lying, but she denied it. No, you don't fool me. And the man slipped a blindfold on the woman and began to hit her until she ran away.
What the fuck? Okay. So it's just like, it's like the opposite of a piñata party where I'm going to put the blindfold on you and then start beating you with the stick.
Domestic violence is not funny, everybody. Just so you know.
This
But if it's a demon, you're free to hit.
That's
her
what I was
with
gonna
that.
say, man. He can beat her ass. It's not his real girlfriend. That's some crazy demon woman.
She got backwards toes.
Pinata party.
The next day, it gets even weirder. Okay, so the next day, the man got a needle, and he went to the priest and had it blessed. That night, he walked again to the road. He ran into her again, and once again, she was posing as his girlfriend. This time, he pretended that he believed her, and they ran away together. After some time, they arrived at a little glen where they stopped to rest. The man pretended to feel romantic and leaned over to embrace his girlfriend. As they sat down, he slipped the blessed needle beneath her without her noticing, and it stuck her on the spot. She couldn't get back up. Then the man left and went to the priest. When they returned, she was still there. Her hair was streaming all around her. The priest told the man to hit her with a branch while the priest prayed. And just as the priest began his prayers, the man raised his branch and the woman vanished.
I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to laugh. That's a funny scene in my head. And also, do they have needles back in Mayan times?
Well, I don't know that this happened.
Maybe it was more like
Mayan
a
time.
pointy, like quill or something.
Yeah, again, this is a translation, right? So,
well, it's of a dead language. I mean, if it's dead, do they? I wonder if they had needles back then.
well, it's probably the best that they can come up with in terms of translating it.
Right. They just had to like fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm. I know that when I read and looked into all this, it spooked the fuck out of me, and I was like really freaked out by it. But again, I couldn't really find anything about people sharing their experiences with it, so I don't know how prevalent this thing is. And is it La Llorona? Is it a demon? What is it?
Is it just like another like little offshoot of La Llorona? You know, is it just kind of the same story, but not, you know? And I think that kind of happens with a lot of these, you know, old urban legends, is they kind of change throughout little villages and cities and everything, and they change to suit the needs of the people that live there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what's a little bit disappointing is that if you go on YouTube or if you go like looking for spooky stories about this, it's always the same. And they all read the same story and they all say the same thing. And it's like nobody is writing their own stuff. And I can tell you 100% that pretty much everything on here, except for this story and my paraphrasing of the creepypasta, I wrote myself. So I was really proud of that because
you did a good job. That was actually really good writing. That first fucking story, man, I was like, right on, buddy. I
wanted to spook you out like from the get-go. And so I was really hoping that it would work, and I'm glad that it did. And hopefully it worked for you, listener.
I'm not much scares Mr. Alex, but you know, every once in a while when you use descriptive words like you did, I was right there, buddy.
So what do you think about La Mala Hora?
I think, you know, when the first time you said it, I was like, oh, it's like another La Llorona. Like, you know what I mean? In my head, for some reason, I instantly pictured a female. But from what I kind of hear, it's just that evil moment, that time that bad things occur. Okay. Yep. And like my mama always used to say, don't go out at stupid times, do stupid things with stupid people. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where this falls into, I feel like. Don't be out driving around in the middle of the night, you know, in the middle of nowhere, because bad things can occur.
Yeah, you're asking for it.
You're asking for it. And, you know, anyone that's done it for long enough, you know that's true.
Well, and we see that with skinwalkers, and we see that with La Llorona,
right,
and everything else.
It follows a pattern. You know, a lot of these urban myths and things like that, they really do follow a pattern. You know, of course, you know, some, you know, these urban myths like chupacabra or little choop choop, that's more misidentification and things. But you know, apparently, so I don't know how to tell you this, Eric, but I have an interview locked down for us here soon.
Oh,
Apparently, okay, we came out with our episode about the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, our little Sammy, our little Sasquatch.
sassy squash.
Yeah, and I got a very weird, badly typed email saying that they really need to talk to us and that he needs to clear his name. He feels like we really kind of did him wrong on the whole the episode where we did Bigfoot, and he feels that he needs to set the record straight. So
he's mad that we were doubting his existence.
Well, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see. But
okay.
Listeners, look forward to that, please. I'm going to try to set it up. I don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to try to make it happen.
Well, I definitely think that patrons should have the first gander at it.
Well, absolutely. They're the ones that are really, back there giving us the
support. They're propping us up. They're lifting us up. They're our heroes. Did you ever know?
You're the wind beneath our wings, guys. So really, we do appreciate every single support, share, everything that you guys do for us.
It sounds like Sassy is ready to fight.
Well, I don't know if it's. Could it be Bigfoot himself? I don't know. So, let's just. I'll set it up and let's see what we can get done for everyone.
All right, sounds good. Okay, again, remember to rate, review, subscribe. Follow us on social media at Dos Spookqueños. Send us your creepy stories. If you have a La Llorona or a La Mala Hora experience and you want to share it with us, absolutely, please do. We will read it for you. We will put it on that's an announcement.
How should they how do they get a hold of us?
Hold on. There's an announcement here.
Fine.
On our next Tiny Terror, that is what won on the polls.
Did we finally get an answer? Yep. So they're going to be called Tiny Terrors
on our Tiny Terror.
I like that.
I like it. It's fun. It's alliterative and it's fun. So on our next Tiny Terror, we will read your stories. So share them with us. You can send them to us at spookqueños@gmail.com. That's SPOOKQUENOS @gmail.com, or you can DM us, slip on into our DMs. Don't be a creep. Yeah, but creepy like in a ghost way, not in a mouth breathing pervy way. Yeah, so send us your stories. We will happily read them for you. Back to you.
Wait, how did you put it one day? You put it like
it'll be your words coming out of our mouths and into your ears.
There you go.
Patreon.com/Dos Spookqueños. You can get all kinds of fun stuff. We're actually going to record something for Patreon right after this. So
yeah, help us. I need a new mic.
Yeah, he does.
I need a new mic. Help us out.
All right, folks. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for sticking with us. We have one more episode after this. We are happy that we were able to wrap this season up, but also sad that it's coming to an end. But don't worry, we will be back.
Oh, we will. Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
Well,
I was getting ready to say that's it, guys. We're done.
I will be back. I don't know if you will be back.
Well, you will be back with your other podcast, which is called True Consequences, which is one of my favorite, season 3. Yep. So I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe I can make a couple of guest appearances.
Yes, sir.
I love that show.
Now that you're a professional podcaster.
I'm so fucking professional.
What else were you going to say, Alex?
Thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Stay spooky.
Peace.